2, 1.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the first 2022 meeting of the MES board, and welcome all aboard, all of you. We have recently, I'd say just at the beginning of the year, come up with a new member of the board, and that is the Treasurer of Maryland, our new treasurer, who is Derek Davis, and he will be with us. The statutes that we have now require that the treasurer be a member, and he will be joining us and working with us, and it will be our pleasure to have him with us as one of our members. So there is a quorum, and the next question is, are there any people from the board who have any questions or statements or anything with regard to the last meeting, which was back in December 16th? They have all been given an opportunity to look at them. Are there any questions, comments, etc.? All right, hearing none, there needs not be a formal opinion as long as people have not made any found any problems with it. So therefore it is approved, and we will now proceed forward to our wonderful Dr. Glass.
Good morning and Happy New Year to all that I haven't had the pleasure of speaking with lately. Am I good? I can't see myself. I still see Judge smoking, but I assume everything's going well. Next slide. So during the period of this expense report, I had an expense for parking in Annapolis for $10. And I also had a hotel stay in Western Maryland. There was a little kerfluffle with the $10 expense. Both Ms. Leach and Ms. Cooper handled two different things in the office, and I handed the receipt to Ms. Cooper, and she processed it as a expense reimbursement. I then reimbursed MES for that mistake because I had used the purchase card for the $10 parking, and MES paid for that way. So just show the board that even though this is a low month in expenses, loaded to nil and actually below the threshold, in the statute, I want to make sure everyone knows that the processes for finding an error and correcting them are there. Mr. Tosi, for some reason, our hotel wasn't pre-booked. I think it's because I had planned on staying with my parents, but then I would have put Mr. Tosi in a bind and putting him up in my parents' garage space. So we decided that since we're visiting the DPW directors and leadership in Garrett County, Allegheny County, and Washington County, that we would stay in Allegheny County and had that overnight stay. So that's all my expenses, and Deputy Director Furketic had no expenses during this expense period.
And I'm going to interrupt you just a minute because we have our newest member here.
Please.
Treasurer Davis, you're now in.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Treasurer Davis. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Now that we have you on the roster, we'll go back to the doctor.
Thank you, sir. Next slide, please. I'd like to put a motion before the board that the Maryland Environmental Services employees have done an excellent job throughout the pandemic and continue to serve our clients and citizens well. Currently, the increase in the cost of living index is an unprecedented level of 7%. In appreciation of their dedication and hard work and taking into consideration these rising costs, I'd like to recommend a bonus and salary increase for all MES employees who were hired prior to January 1st, 2022. That would be a $1,500 bonus to be paid on February 1st, 2022, and a 3% salary increase effective with the pay period ending February 9th, 2022. The total amount of the bonus payment and raise will be charged. Well, the bonus payment will be charged against our contingencies funds and will not impact our FY 2022 net operating income. Because there's a specific statutory requirement that the board sets the salary for the executive director and the deputy director, I'm also stating in this motion that we exclude the deputy director and myself from this pay increase until the board comes up with their own theories on the topic, but it is not a part of this recommendation. In this motion as a non-voting member, just to put a motion before the board.
All right. Is there anyone who will make a motion with regard to the employee pay increases as stated by Dr. Glass?
Move approval, Mr. Chairman. Bobby Neal.
Second.
All right. Any questions? Anything to add to what Dr. Glass has told us? All right.
I'm sorry, who was that seconded?
Derek Davis, Treasurer
Okay.
Davis.
Yes,
Thank
I think it was. I think so. So therefore, all those in favor, please raise your hands, state aye.
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 Have you got them, Ms. Fuller?
Yes.
Got everybody? All right, the motion is approved. All right.
Thank you, sir. Next
Thank you.
slide. So our operator and training program is exempt from the motion that was just made. Our operating training program, for those that aren't familiar, is a 3-year program to train high school graduates to become a licensed water and wastewater treatment plant operator. We have 2 critical issues in the agency right now when it comes to hiring, and it's indicative of the current labor market, and those vacancies are primarily in our operator in training. The state has a deficiency of licensed operators in water and wastewater treatment and other licensed operators for analysis of water systems. So this is something I just wanted to educate the board on this issue. We have the lowest starting salary for our operator and training program. And in fact, some fast food establishments pay more than what we're paying our OITs. And we also have amongst the lowest rates for our operators once they are licensed. And poaching is a real event with the MES. So operators get trained, they are attracted by counties and WSSC, and they are poached from us as soon as they receive their Class 5 wastewater license. So something I want to show you all, we also have challenges attracting mechanics and electricians, and I'm just laser focused on this. We've created a work group that's made up of myself, Deputy Director for Procurement, the water wastewater team, and executive office staff and HR to really look at revamping the program, doing everything we can holistically to retain our OITs and encourage them on the career path of the MES, including all of our support for education. But we really need to reach out everywhere. So we have the list, we've garnered the list of all vocational high schools in every county. Deputy Furketic and another executive office team member, Ms. Cooper, have contacts in the Anne Arundel County Vocational High School and the Howard County Vocational High School, and they know the principals. So we've reached out. They've shown good responses. With other members of the governor's team, they actually have great contacts with the Harford County Vocational High School and Community College. And we're trying to establish those networks to really let people know that we exist and that we're recruiting for this industry and to try to create the pipeline in recruitment. Last year, there were 200 contacts for interest in the OIT program, and only 14 accepted the offer to come out of 200. Some of those, failed to meet all the requirements, but a good many of them responded when they turned down the offer to come that pay wasn't acceptable for the level of work involved. So I just wanted to bring this now. We're gonna work on this. We're gonna work on our end to improve recruitment, and we're also going to come up with a way that this program can better serve our clients that rely on these operators to keep those all of our facilities up to speed and in good compliance. Next slide. We also, I forget the name of the organization, but we do have made contact. We're attending more jobs fairs, and we have signed up to attend the Military Veterans Association that Secretary Neal referred us to, and we're going to that job fair.
Dr. Glass, that organization is the Baltimore City Mayor's Office of Employee Development, and they have the YH2O program that brings youth in and trains them for jobs in the water industry.
There was also one that Ms. Cooper told me about that was directly related to military as well, but we're going everywhere. And Deputy Furketic is an illustrious leader in the Chesapeake Water Environment Association and has all of her, we're tapping every contact and trying to grow this program. Thank you, Deputy Furketic. Next slide. So the legislative session has started. We have our budget hearings scheduled February 9th and 10th on our operating budget, and 22nd and 23rd on the capital budget. Only 2 notes: we've received everything that was requested in the governor's budget, and also 2 items that, well, 1 item that was not requested at all, and that is $6 million for to continue the work that MES has performed for the Maryland Department for the Environment on the beneficial and innovative reuse of Conowingo sediment. That project, almost 1,000 cubic yards were dredged in the fall, and although it's cold right now and the sediment deposits are frozen, the evaluation of the beneficial use of that sediment is going to continue after the spring thaw. But that would have been the end of that project. So for the FY23 budget, $6 million has been included for MES directly to work on that, which is a new event for MES. Generally, all capital funds, all operating funds from the state go through an agency, generally. The other major addition is a $7.2 million deficiency for the ECI cogeneration plant conversion. That is in the DGS budget as an FY22 deficiency. We have the last bid. We have a successful bid for all of the conversion. As most have experienced in the state, prices have gone up, and we did not have all of the funds to complete the project. So $7.2 million deficiency will go through the legislative process. We're planning and we'll be prepared to award that contract. We will have to ask for an extension from the contractor. The 90-day bid process will be over, so we will ask for an extension. It'll just be over if we're assuming approval through the session, and then award in April. So we hope to bring it to the board in the late March board meeting, MES board meeting, and then bring before the Board of Public Works at the earliest time in April. And we're planning for that. And I've already made contact with DGS to make sure that all of the processing of getting the monies from DGS to us is as expedient as possible. Next slide. So as you all are aware, and while we're on Zoom right now, a state of emergency has been enacted. And so I'm not performing any site visits until that is complete. But the last 5 weeks since we last met has been very busy with my continuing engagement, and the MDOT engagement is continual as we work so closely with the Maryland Port Administration and the Maryland Aviation Administration. There was a State of the Ports seminar yesterday where the new Secretary, Jim Ports, and the Executive Director of the Port and the Executive Director and CEO of the Maryland Aviation Administration, they all presented their status, and they are all doing very well. And they all look forward to the infrastructure bill. I did have a bunch of notes I read from a trade agency on the infrastructure bill, and I have more to talk about later with that. But I also continue to engage with Bioenergy DevCo. Bioenergy DevCo was introduced to Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines continues to have an interest, and for the next 30 years, they will have a growing interest in sustainable aviation fuel. And because of their presence at BWI, it's critical that they have that SAF being produced by a refiner in Maryland at some point in time. So we continue to engage. I also met with several engineering firms, just making sure they know that we are always open and letting them know about when we'll have our next A&E shortlist. In addition, I reached out to Walmart, who, when I was at MDOT, did a Smart Pond project that came in way under budget based on the price that MDOT has been paying for TMDL credit, meeting TMDL credits, and had a nice conversation about their food waste, whether we could get their food waste to go to our composting facility at the Western Branch in Prince George's County, the Western Branch Organics facility, or whether they would send oils, fats, and grease and food waste, if it was appropriate, to the Bioenergy DevCo facility. So those are the highlights of external engagement. Next slide. So the HR dashboard, we talked a couple of months ago about the awareness of the question with some of our numbers, and we move forward with expanding, and I hope to have a completed dashboard. Another work group formed. It's kind of a trend. Deputy Freketic and I are meeting and working with IT directly to get the information out of Workday and present it in real time. HR and the group admins are focused on making sure the data, the requests for positions, to be eliminated after external stakeholders have no more funding in a given position. So making sure that all the data in Workday from an HR perspective is accurate, as up to date as possible. So we're still updating it the day after every pay period. And now we have live metrics. So Chief White can just ping it any day. And Deputy Freketic and I will soon have a dashboard where we can just log in and ask for the metrics. And for as long as we know that the data has been updated, it's accurate to the day. So that keeps on going on. And this effort, looking at the data and how we're developing it and where the vacancies are, has led to the identification that it's really an issue that we all need to join together inside MES to recruit for the operators and for labor positions and technicians. So the other thing is just to let you know, next slide. I don't know if this is on a slide. So we had a quarterly all teams meeting on Tuesday. You know, we have our all team meetings, we're statewide. So we had approximately, I was looking at the count, 270 out of our 750 teammates were present for almost the entire time. We went a little bit over an hour, but all the managing directors presented, except for Mr. King, but all the managing directors presented. The operating managing directors presented updates on the activities in their groups. And since we're done with the requirements for December 31st for the MES Reform Act, we're going to bring back, and today you'll see a presentation giving an update on one of the operating groups. I believe that these meetings are well received. We announced to the entire agency the strategic plan effort and a SWOT analysis that we're asking them to send feedback on questions, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And we're also going to prepare a survey to go out to to a select group of our stakeholders, of our clients, client partners. Before we change this slide, just to mention on the infrastructure bill, just yesterday, Governor Hogan announced the establishment of an infrastructure subcabinet. The infrastructure bill is $1 trillion over the next 5 years, 5 federal fiscal years. Moving forward, Deputy Chief of Staff Allison Mayer was named as the infrastructure director. The subcabinet will be made up primarily of the Department of Budget Management, Transportation, Commerce, Housing and Community Development, Environment and Information Technology secretaries. And then it did mention with consultation from the directors of the Maryland Energy Administration and Maryland Environmental Service. So just to let you all know that the MES, the director of MES has been named to join that sub-cabinet. I believe someone may have, Secretary Neal may have more knowledge of this topic, but I believe Maryland receives approximately 4% of all federal acts like that. It is an apportionment, and it varies based on
2%.
2%.
2%.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I knew you'd remember that. So 2% of 2 trillion over 5 years is still a lot of money. 20 billion over 5 years. So that's a lot to add on to all of the regular federal funding for transportation and infrastructure. And as we support MDOT, as I've mentioned, MES should we'll both have a say during the sub-cabinet, but also be prepared to respond and support the state in all those activities. Next slide. And finally, I'm here to announce and congratulate Mr. Russ Brown. Mr. Russ Brown has retired after 30 plus years of service at MES. He started as a heavy equipment operator. He continued progressing his career from equipment operator 1, 2, and 3, completing his degree through the MES Tuition Assistance Program. He worked as the senior manager of the Prince George's Organics Composting Facility. And whenever there's a problem throughout environmental operations, he was there to help out, including recently serving as a senior manager for the operations of the Prince George's County Materials Recycling Facility. I met Mr. Brown multiple times, even in this last 19 months. Salts of the earth gentleman, and I wish him the best in his retirement. He is the example of what we need to recruit for now, to recruit folks that want to get an opportunity and then grow through MES. And he's just an exemplar, a scholar and a gentleman. So I wish him the best in his retirement. And I want to show you, he is getting a governor's citation for his 30 plus years of service. Obviously, he's getting a executive director citation, and he's getting our traditional service award. He'll be receiving this in the mail. So he's already retired, and we wish him the best. And Judge Milken, that concludes my report this month.
Well, here. Good luck, Mr. Brown, as you go forward into the rest of the world, and may you have a good time forever. One thing, I've been talking a bit with Dr. Glass about the difficulty of getting people to work these days. And, when you think about getting salaries going up, you think $1 here, a couple dollars there. But just to put it into perspective, I read something the other day about a trucker who was in a terrific shortage of personnel to drive the trucks. And what he did was he changed the yearly benefit from $48,000 to $70,000, just like that. So that gives you an idea of what it's like to find people that you absolutely need to operate. I don't do much in math, but I'm sure when we get to our math person, he'll figure out what the percentage was, but it was a lot, putting it that way. So we really have to, and we're in the same boat as everybody else, maybe more because we have more water, but anyway. Okay, let's go forward to the agency activity reports from the managing directors. Here they are. So ladies and gentlemen of the board, take a look. If there's any that you have any questions about, I'm sure we can get them answered. Let's see. Anyone on the board have any questions? No, hearing none, I think we'll continue on, and we'll get to financial report with our Mr. Patel, who is our treasurer. So he's the one who gets paid for it. And Treasurer Davis doesn't get paid for this, what we do here. Something else maybe, but not for what we do here. So Mr. Patel,
Good morning, everyone.
Okay. Hello, thank you. Go ahead.
I'm presenting our financial position as of December 31, 2021, which is halfway through fiscal year 2022. If I describe our financial position at this point, it is steady. It has been remarkably steady throughout the past few months, and we expect, it will be steady going forward also. As you are aware, MES is a fee-for-service agency. So the most important factor for earning our revenues is the labor sales. That is the billable labor we charge to all our clients' partners. For fiscal year 22, up to this point, the billable labor is about $900,000 less than fiscal year 21, and it is less than what we have budgeted for fiscal year 22. And the labor sales are less across the board in all groups. Considering the nature of our projects, we have basically the same clients, and there is some growth with the new clients, but the scope of work changes. If our clients, some of the local governments are taking over major projects, in those years, our labor is higher. When those projects are finished, the labor sales are going down. But usually we balance the overhead expenses with the labor sales. I'm keeping an eye, and finance department keeping an eye on every single overhead expense, and we are balancing the labor sales with the overhead expense. So even though the labor sales are lower than last year, I do not see that as a major concern. Next slide, please. Change in net assets is basically the net income, what you will call in private industries. For governmental accounting, we call it change in net assets. When we have labor sales, we recover fringe and overhead based on fixed percentages. And all the fringe expenses and overhead expenses are paid from that recovery. And the bottom line, revenues minus expenses, determines the change in net assets. As of this point, we have increase in net assets of $2.6 million. And we expect by the end of this year, it will be $3.2 million. This is going based on our projection for the year, where we're going to wind up with net increase in net assets as of June 30. And as I'll show you in the next slide how it affects overall MES's balance sheet. Next slide, please. So total net assets is made up of two parts. One is investment in capital assets, and the other part is contingency fund and unrestricted net assets. During the year, it will fluctuate based on our net income, earnings of net income. But most of the time, at the end of the fiscal year, when we do all the closing entries for the fiscal year, it is divided 50-50. We do not expect any major investments in capital assets in near future. So very likely our total net assets for MES will be about same as every year. MES does not have any intention to increase our total net assets. If we do have additional net income, usually provided that our employees meet all the best goals, and if it is approved by the board, we use that additional net income as best incentive payments. Next slide, please. So here what we have projected if you see in the second column is the budget for the full year, which says, our total net income from operations will be $3.2 million. And the actual as of December is 2.6 million. A lot of the additional fringe benefit like holiday costs and then all this adjustment for fiscal year end, like accrued payroll, accrued accounts payable, will have significant impact on the bottom line. So even though it is 2.6 million right now, very likely will end the fiscal year 22 with probably more than 3.2 million, what we are expecting. It may be in the range of 3.5 million, but we have still 6 months to go. It can change, but all I can say is we are on target of what we had planned. Next slide, please. So this is the detail of what we have planned for fiscal year 22. It is in your package, but as you can see that we are planning for increase in net assets of $3.2 million, which will be basically used for, as I mentioned, the best incentive payments or contingency funds. Next slide, please. So I'll briefly go over major accounts that are past 90 days due. Finance department and the project managers are very diligent in collecting the past due invoices. As you can see, a lot of these are the government agencies or local governments. Because of the COVID, they had a staff shortage also. And we are working with them in trying to collect past due invoices, but I don't see any major problems. Is the processes, lack of staff, but since this is on our books, I'm presenting to you. So, but I don't see any issues in collecting most of these past due balances. Now I'm going to highlight a few of them that we're going to work on in next coming months, which are Town of Sudlersville, which is past due for a long time. South Star Limited Partnership. We're going to work something out in a partial payments. They're paying the operating invoices. This is for their sinking fund, which will be used for major maintenance if ever occurs. Wise Recycling, we have gone through the legal process. Greyhound Trash Removal, we have gone through the legal process, but we're going to concentrate on those accounts that are seriously past due, and hopefully we'll have some resolution in a month or two. And I think that concludes my presentation.
All right. Any questions of the gentleman? Anyone? Mr. Hammond, thank you very much. And I'll give you my usual question. Are we solvent?
Yes, sir. We are steady and we are keeping an eye on it. So it is good.
All right. As long as we hear that from you every month, that's great.
Right.
Okay. When you ring the bell the other way around, we'll be upset. Okay. Next, we have some human resources reports from Ms. White.
Good morning.
Yes, Ms. White, there you are. Okay, where are you? There you are.
I'm right here.
Hi. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. As Dr. Glass said earlier, we are having challenges with recruitment and retention, just like every other person in the United States and even beyond. This is our current vacancy rate is 8.78%. And you will see in the next slide, I think it's a separate slide, we have a trending chart that we'll be sharing in addition. Yes, and what we are hoping is that trend goes down, because right now it's continuing to climb. And as he said before, we do have a work group that's going to work on ways to increase recruitment and also ways to increase retention, because unfortunately our vacancy rate is also because as many people as we bring on board, we have a swinging door, people are also leaving. So big challenges, but we will be presenting it to you this way every month. So you can not only see the report, but also the trend in a chart. And we now have a resolution, another COVID-related resolution, this time resolution 22-01-1R. And it is in accordance with the state that's already granting COVID vaccine booster leave. We also want Maryland Environmental Service employees who provide proof of having received a booster to be awarded 2 hours of paid COVID vaccine booster leave.
All
Do
right.
I have a motion?
Is there a motion for that resolution?
So moved.
So
This is
moved.
Kelly.
And I think we have a second as well.
I'll second Marion.
All right.
Question on the motion?
Any questions?
I'm
Yes, sir.
just curious, is this prospective or is it what's the other word I'm looking for? Anybody that's already done it, or is it just going forward?
It's for both. Once you show proof to Human Resources that you have received a booster, you are awarded the 2 hours of leave added to your leave bank, as well as those who will get it and also provide proof. So yes, it is.
Understand.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Thank you. Anyone else have any questions of Ms. White? All right. And I think we do have a motion that is before the floor. All those in favor, please raise your hand, say aye.
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 Any opposed? None. Therefore, it is accepted as resolution 22-01-1R. Anything else, Ms. White?
No, I think that's all for me today.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. Next, let's see here. We have Ms. Delanar. Ms. Delanar, where are you? I know you're there. There you are. Okay, found you. So the floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to talk about Environmental Dredging and Restoration Group and some of our projects. The EDR team is comprised of 6 sections and plus administrative support, and we are approximately 125 people of varying experiences and skill sets that include engineers, surveyors, equipment operators, educators, environmental scientists, site operators, and managers, and inspectors and laborers. We all work together to provide the best support to help our clients meet their project and program goals while using cost-effective means and innovative solutions while protecting and enhancing the environment. Our well-skilled teams excel in many service areas as shown here. Our biggest role, though, is the support we provide MDOT-MPA with the operations and management of dredge material placement sites that include Hart-Miller Island, Paul S. Sarbanes Ecosystem Restoration Project at Poplar Island, and Cox Creek and Masonville dredge material containment facilities. Our work has expanded over the years to also include dredging contracts, construction and remediation services, and also we've added additional valued customers over the years. With dredge material placement capacity challenges, our role is expanded to support MDOT-MPA with their innovative reuse and beneficial use goals, and also community outreach and education services. Next slide.
Just one question going back. For people who are not aware of it specifically, where are these pictures taken?
The pictures on this one.
Yes.
So the pontoon excavator that's at the top is probably that looks like probably Poplar, not quite sure. The lower left-hand corner, that's over at Dundalk Marine Terminal. And the turtle is probably in.
Turtle is a turtle.
The turtle's a turtle.
Okay. I just wanted people to have an understanding of where these things are happening. They may be in their neighborhood or whatever. So I think that's nice to let people know. Because just looking at it, you wouldn't know exactly where it is most of the time. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Right, thank you. In addition to our clients at M.MPA, we also have clients such as Honeywell, Maryland Department of the Environment, Garrett County, Frederick County, City of Frederick, and Trade Point Atlantic. And just these photos here, the top one that is Dundalk Marine Terminal, it's the algal flow project that they worked on. And the black and white photo is Lake Linganore. And the other one's a dredging operations, I believe, at Masonville unloading.
Okay, great, thank you.
Here's a project location map of some of our larger projects, and the following slides will provide updates on some of these. Next slide, please. At Cox Creek Dredge Material Containment Facility, discharge continues to keep the water surface elevation below critical levels to not compromise the recently constructed base dike widening. We're also preparing for the core inflow project, which will come early this spring and bring about 570,000 cubic yards of dredge material to the site. The Masonville teams have been testing out the floating weir structure shown top center that was designed by the Masonville team. The Cox Creek spillways will be taken offline with the construction of the plus 60 dike, and the floating weir with an alternate discharge piping system will allow the facility to continue to discharge water, which is very critical to our operations. We just recently completed with MPA and the annual open house at Cox Creek. It was very successful on October 16th. Day started off with a bird walk, you can see in the lower right photo, and also some other exciting events and food during the day. Next slide, please. Since April 2015, MES has worked on behalf of M.MPA to expand the existing Cox Creek facility to continue to accommodate the Baltimore Harbor dredging demand and provide much needed storage capacity for MDOT's 20-year capacity plan. Some of the projects completed under this MOU include the operations building complex, and also the remediation and demolition of the Uplands Kennecott Refinery buildings and property, security camera system and poles, and the most recently completed was the Barrow area excavation and base dike widening. Next slide. The current expansion project at Cox Creek is the plus 60 dike construction. MES entered into a contract that was competitively bid with Bowen and Crone in July to raise the existing dikes that are at elevation plus 36 to elevation plus 60 and expand this dike system into the upland areas. The work that we've done so far under this contract is just the early stages, mostly stormwater management controls, such as the outfall drainage structure shown in the bottom two photos. But there's a lot more to go, and this contract will continue through April 2024. Next slide, please. At Masonville Dredge Material Containment Facility, MDE just finalized the individual discharge permit for Masonville and the overlay permit to cover the nutrient limits released from both Masonville and Cox Creek DMCF. This new permit takes effect February. And the breeding eagle pair are back at site, and there are eagle restrictions and monitoring that are occurring at Masonville Cove. Masonville team is also preparing for inflow that's coming in this week. 15,000 cubic yards of dredge materials coming from Dundalk Marine Terminal Berth 3. And after that, 13,000 cubic yards is coming from Seagirt Berth 3. Thank you. With all the permits and authorization received, Masonville base dike widening began on January 11th. Materials being supplied and hauled by a competitively bid contract with Kelly's Trucking, and MES is providing all the on-site construction with forming and compacting the base dike. Work is expected to continue in the next 15 months, and this will prepare the facility for the next step, which will be construction of the dikes from elevation plus 18 to elevation plus 30. And here's some views of the base dike. Next slide, please. At Poplar Island, MES continues sand recovery efforts for future dike racing, and Cell 11 dike racing continues. During this quarter, a U.S. Coast Guard safety drill was drilled to deploy the boom was successfully executed. And also during this past quarter, there were no permit non-compliances. And the Poplar team is coordinating the placement of 150 Christmas trees that will be placed in Poplar Island's developed wetland cells for habitat for wildlife that's on site. And snowy owls were seen visiting the site as well. Next slide, please. At Hart Miller Island, trench maintenance continues and discharges occurred throughout the quarter to maintain the appropriate pond level elevations. Also, the crew boat Blue Heron was taken to the competitively bid contractor to install new diesel engines that'll be cleaner and hopefully a lot more reliable. The work should be completed in May and the crew boat will be back online then. MES provides support services to MPA at Dundalk Marine Terminal related to the chrome ore processing residue remediation which includes hazardous and non-hazardous waste management, permit sampling, analysis and reporting, and then also groundwater treatment system operation and maintenance. One of the larger projects MES is helping MDOT-MPA and Honeywell is a capital improvement project to upgrade the on-site groundwater treatment plant, which is operated by MES Water Wastewater Group. First up are the repairs to the 79,000 gallon fiberglass tanks and clarifier. That will happen in this FY. We currently are finalizing a competitive bid for this work. Phases 1 and 2 will happen in FY 23 and 24, and they include multiple upgrades. Each phase is estimated to be approximately $500,000. Next slide, thank you. MES provides landfill post-closure care services to MPA and Honeywell for the Hawkins Point Hazardous Waste Landfill. This landfill contains chrome ore tailings and chromium contaminated waste and debris from the demolition of the old Baltimore Works plant, which was owned in the day by Allied Corporation, which is now Honeywell. Post-closure care services include groundwater sampling and reporting, leachate collection system and landfill cap monitoring and maintenance, and then also hazardous waste management. Once again, this is a closed landfill, and the MDE controlled hazardous substance permit that establishes the post-closure care is due up for renewal in June, and MES is putting together the permit application now. And then the EPA corrective action permit, this permit references the MDE permit, is required because Maryland doesn't have the delegated authority for RCRA corrective action. That permit expires in November, and we're going to put that application together as well too. Next slide, thank you. As Dr. Glass had mentioned, the dredging portion of the Conowingo project was completed this past quarter. There was a limited window of time to complete this work due to environmental and recreational time of year restrictions, but the contractor was able to do all the work, dredging and trucking that material to the processing facility by the end of October. The photo flow chart here shows the process going forward, or what happened, basically the dredging of the material and placing it in the material barge and barging that over to the onshore dewatering pad where it was unloaded. And then the trucks were loaded. And the last photo is the final stockpile of the material at Stansels. And like Dr. Glass said, this material will undergo innovative reuse demonstration projects, and a final report will be available in the summer. And that's it. Thank you.
All right, any questions? It's quite a very wonderful illustration of what we do here with MES. You know, when you think about it, MES's goals are land and water. And land and water isn't as easily moved as people think. And that's, was just well slid, whatever the word would be, of your slides. Okay, well, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Any other questions? No? All right, thank you. And now it's up to Ms. Crosby. Ms. Crosby. Ms. Crosby, I know you're there too. I saw you. Okay.
Yes, good morning again.
Good morning, ma'am.
Okay, procurement item 1 is a change order for the Cunningham Falls State Park water treatment plant upgrade. The contractor is HRI Construction LLC and M2, also known as M2 Construction LLC. The amount of this change order is $259,000. This change order and the 7 previous change order brings the revised contract amount to $3,208,907.31.
All right, members of the board, had a chance to look. Any questions? All right, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
And we heard a double one, so that's the second. Any questions? All right, those in favor, please raise your hand, state aye.
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 You say aye or your name, whichever, as long as we know that Ms. Fuller has your acquaintance at the moment. All right, I think we can move forward. Next.
Yes. Item 2 is the purchase of a road grader for Poplar Island restoration project. The estimated amount of the purchase is $260,000. The advertisement date is to be determined.
All right, any questions from the board? When I look at it, all I can think of is my grandchildren who'd love to have one. All right, let's see. Anyone have a motion for this one?
So moved.
And I'll second it. Any questions? All right, all those in favor, please raise your hand, state aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
I think that's everybody, Ms. Fuller. All right, thank you. Go ahead on, go ahead on, please.
Sure. Item 3 is for the ECI Cogen equipment, border burners, ecomizer. The contractor is Deval Equipment Corporation. This is a change order to the contract in the amount of $613,541, bringing the total contract amount to $1,459,273.14.
All right, any questions regarding procurement item number 3? Not hearing any. Anyone have any motion?
Move favorable.
All right,
Second.
and second. Any other matters wish to be pursued on this? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand or say aye.
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 Any questions, Ms. Fuller, or you got them all?
I didn't hear who made the initial motion.
Derek Davis.
Okay, thank you.
I think it was our newest person. So welcome aboard there. You've been christened here. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, item 4 is for MES short-term and long-term group disability life insurance policy. The contractor is Real Star Life Insurance Company. This is the second year renewal on this contract in the amount of $1,021,947.36, bringing the total contract, since this is the second year, to $2,043,894.60.
All right, just basically a double from the first year, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Any questions on this matter? All right. Anyone have a motion?
So moved.
All right, moved in second. Any other matters or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hands or state aye or both.
Aye.
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 Ms. Fuller, you've got everybody on board?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, thank you. Or is there anyone else with you at the moment? No? All right. Now we have the procurements under $200,000
Yes.
for the board to look at. If there are any questions of the board. All right, this does not require a motion. So anyone have any questions? Hearing none, we'll proceed to the next matter. Thank you very much. As always, Ms. White, thank you.
Ms. Crosby,
Okay.
thank you.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I changed you a little bit, but there you go. Okay, let's see here. Next, I think that's about it. Are there any discussions or other matters to be heard?
Judge Smoking, one thing that I missed in my report is that the HR group has successfully engaged a contract with Anne Arundel Community College to bring back MES's supervisor and manager training. So folks have been identified from teams throughout the agency to participate in this 5-month-long supervisor manager training program so that they are prepared to apply for the next job up, depending on whether they are, labor side or operations side or administrative side. So just wanted to let you know that it's been about 4 years, 3 or 4 years since folks had the opportunity to participate in that type of a program. And so that's just an internal manager training program that is being relaunched, and happy to bring back. It was missed by employees. So just wanted to make sure the board was aware that is being executed.
The time is ripe for that. Thank you for getting it out. All right, and Treasurer Davis, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, and so people who don't know you will.
Thank you, sir. Again, it's a pleasure being a part of this board. I know all the wonderful things that you all have done, and I'm hoping to be an addition. My name is Derek Davis. I've served in the Maryland General Assembly for the past 27 years, from January of 1995 until December 17th of 2021. I chaired the House Economic Matters Committee for the last 19 of those 27 years. I was sworn in as treasurer for the state of Maryland on December 17th when I resigned. I've been here for the past 6 weeks. I have a great staff. Treasurer Kopp did a wonderful job managing the state's finances and assembling just a wonderful staff. So I'm honored and privileged to be here. I didn't realize how many boards and commissions I got to serve on as treasurer. Literally, I'm on 25. So,
when do you go home?
They don't mind me being out of there as long as the checks are coming in, the bills are paid. They are fine with me doing the state's business. But again, it is an honor. I knew of the board and certainly of the agency, but I'm just here to learn. Environmental Services performs a wonderful service to many of our governmental agencies that wouldn't otherwise be able to have that expertise. So I'm looking forward to learning anything that I can do to help, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Glass and I have had an opportunity. Treasurer Kopp brought us together. So I'm looking forward to that relationship developing more, as well as the other board members. And I'm going to be quiet now because that old legislative thing will kick in and I'll start unwittingly filibustering and I'll let it go at that. So thank you all for having me.
All right, well, thank you for being with us, sir.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Is that Bobby Neal?
Yes, it is.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine. I just want to forewarn all the board members that Treasurer Davis is a poker player. And
Uh-oh.
I learned about this at my own discomfort. And so I just want to make everybody aware to be on the lookout. If he invites you to a card game, you better bring your A game. And,
Thanks, Bobby.
No money will actually be used. Yes.
Yeah. But the other thing is I want to congratulate you on getting John over from DBM. He's a great guy, and he'll do a great job.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Now, is there, for open discussion, is there anyone else who has any open discussions they wish to offer? Hearing none, the next meeting will be on Thursday, the 24th of February at 9:30. We don't know, I don't think we know yet whether it will be through Zoom like this one. That hasn't been taken care of. We won't know that probably until very close to that period of time, or the middle of, probably the middle, my guess is the middle of February. Things will change, but who knows? Who knows? All right. Now, there will be a closed session if there is an agreement to that. The board intends to meet in closed session after this procedure for the following reasons permitted under section 3-305B of the general provisions article of the annotated code of Maryland, to consult with counsel and other employees regarding several litigative matters, and also to discuss performance and compensation of an employee of the service. Is there anyone from the board who objects to such a meeting in closed session? All right, then we'll proceed. Is anyone else viewing the meeting objecting to the board meeting in closed session? If they do have any objection, they should contact MES through its website at www.menb.com. And that having been all said, is there a motion for the board to meet in closed session at this moment?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you.
I'll second.
Second has been made. Any other matters that the board wishes to ask? There being none, we'll now ask for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Raise your hand. Anyone in objection? All right, there being no objection, we will proceed pursuant to the laws of Maryland and announce the board meeting will now adjourn at the closed session and will not return to an open session today. Ms. Fuller, if you would get everybody on the board to remain on the line and join the breakout room for a closed session, please.
All the board